Okay, good afternoon, everyone. Normally I just give it about 60 seconds for our participants to connect, as we've noticed that sometimes it takes a couple of seconds to see all the participants coming in before we commence. So I'll just give it, let's say, another 60 seconds or so before we start the webinar session. Okay, see the numbers coming up. Wouldn't want to, because we have high-profile panelists with us, I wouldn't want to take away too much of your time because of the time constraints. I would like to introduce myself as Shafi Ismail. I'm responsible for the ecosystem development at the Sharjah Research and Technology Innovation Park. And I am joined by Mr. Salim Zeghal and Mr. Adam Uptas, who I will introduce after I've had a couple of minutes to discuss about the Sharjah Research and Technology Innovation Park. To quickly go ahead, the Research and Technology Innovation Park obviously stems from the leadership of the United Arab Emirates, and as you can see, with the president of the UAE, Sheikh Khalifa bin Zayed Al Nahyan, and the vice president being His Highness Sheikh Mohammed bin Rashid Al Maktoum. And obviously, also from the great leadership of His Highness Sheikh Dr. Sultan bin Mohammed Al Qasimi, who is the ruler of Sharjah and also happens to be the chairman of the Sharjah Research and Technology Innovation Park. So the park itself has been established in 2016 by Emiri decree. We are officially a subsidiary of the American University of Sharjah, and Sharjah happens to be one of the prolific emirates that invests over $1 billion annually on research and development, education and innovation. And it only sets itself as a precedent for us to develop such an ecosystem to promote innovation within the region and within the Middle East as well. Obviously, we have been developing the programs in partnership with the Fraunhofer IPK, and the Sharjah board, the American University of Sharjah Board of Trustees came together and developed the strategy that we have with the park at present. There are four main mandates with the park, and what I would say is that the main and the foremost is to build an innovation ecosystem, and it is support our partners to scale and come together within an umbrella across different segments. We aim to generate employment. Being located next to the University of Sharjah, we have access to this vast potential of mindshare and talent, and we aim to really employ them in these new forward-thinking segments. We do hear a lot about the knowledge economy, but at the Research and Technology Park, we really want to catalyze this knowledge economy, promote the commercialization of research and development, and primarily promote the circular economy. Ultimately, all these goals come together in investing for the future. And if the past 12 to 18 months of anything to signify, we really are at the forefront of a new frontier of the next 5 years to a decade. And we're really hoping that deep technology forms a significant part of this activities. The Sharjah Research and Technology Innovation Park focuses on 6 main sectors, although we have been expanding on these over the last year as well. Main segments being renewable energy, environmental technology and economy, water technology, production design and architecture, mobility, logistics and smart cities, and digitization as well, which includes healthcare technology, cybersecurity, so on and so forth. As you can see, we're looking at roughly close to $1 trillion sector that for the region, and this is actually based on, 2019 estimates, and we're really expecting this to significantly increase over the next decade for sure. The park obviously has global vision and a regional mission. We have partnered with several international entities, as you can see on your screen here, including several well-known brands, such as ABB, Acciona, IDEA, who actually helped design our world-class headquarters facilities that we recently moved into, Catapult segments as well, and United Nations, so on and so forth. We pride ourselves in actually having developed a triple helix format in how we operate. So being a government entity ourselves, we work with several government institutions within Sharjah and the UAE in identifying specific projects. Being an offshoot of the American University of Sharjah, we have strong entrenchment in academia, especially when it comes to accessing the research and the commercialization aspects. With our far-reaching board of trustees and corporate partners, we do have a key investment in business activities as well. So just to give an example of how this triple helix format actually works, we have an artificial intelligence entity that's actually established within the park, and we've been able to link them up with several government entities, over 15 of them, in developing a data maturity model and helping them to finally develop AI-supported decision-making capabilities. So this is how we've linked ourselves with our partners within the park to Sharjah government, as well as to federal level government projects as well. So we understand that having this holistic ecosystem is going to be the future of developing true innovation in all across different sectors. Of course, we do similar programs for agri-tech, programs for the youth, research and development labs, and so on. So this is just to give you an idea of how our technology transfer system works with our partners. We're proud to say that there's already been over $100 million invested in the ecosystem since the beginning of 2019, which is a major step in the right direction, despite the difficulties that we've been facing throughout 2020. I'm proud to say we already have 6 anchor deep tech pilot projects that have been implemented between 2019 and 2020 alone. We are in the process of developing 6 further projects over the course of the next 4 to 6 months as well. The current projects include areas of photovoltaics, agri-tech, 3D construction that we've printed a 3D printed villa, an additive manufacturing hub, three floors of facilities in printing plastics, metals, polymers, and equipment for CNC machines and laser cutting machines for wood, textiles, and so on. We'll be having one of the region's largest AR, VR experiential center once they open their doors in between May and June of this year. And proud to say that we have one of the largest, if not the largest, the Mass Transportation Innovation Center in the region, a 3-kilometer stretch of rapid prototyping section where we have 3 different tracks of people movement and logistics movement as well. At present, we are home to over 90 companies, and we really hope to attract over 250 companies before the end of this year. And based on the interest and the traction that we've been getting, we are well on our way to cover all our 6 segments with a variety of these companies. One of our key unique points happens to be our location. We are not here by accident. We are located next to the University of Sharjah, which has actually helped facilitate over 20,000 visits across 2019 and 2020, being home to over 47,000 students and 22 universities, including the American University of Sharjah and the University of Sharjah. It happens to be one of the highest concentrations of PhD holders in the region. That's over 2,000 PhD holders as of 2019. I'm sure those numbers would have increased across the span. This is just to give you an idea of some of the partners that we have here established in the park. I will go through a few of them in a bit more detail. One of the key drivers that our CEO has been pushing through to implement over the last 2 years, especially, is developing innovation drivers analysis of the Emirate of Sharjah. And our CEO, His Excellency Mr. Hussein Al Mahmoudi, and a team of senior delegations, including the chairmen of SEWA, chairman of Sharjah Governmental Relations, chairman of Shuruk, and so on, actually were presented their thesis, doing a comparative analysis of Sharjah with Boston, Bangalore, Hyderabad, Frankfurt, and so on sister cities, to see where we need to be over the next five years to a decade in terms of proliferating innovation, especially when it comes to markets and investments, inter-firm activity, developing research and development, skills and human capital, progressing with the infrastructure, and how the governance and policy really needs to be one step ahead of true innovation. One of our partners that I briefly mentioned earlier is Skyway Technologies, that has developed one of the largest transport and logistics innovation centers in the region. They initially started off with a 500-meter stretch that was inaugurated by His Highness in 2019. And right now we're in development of 2 3-kilometer stretches of overhead transportation, one being for people movement and one actually will be developed for logistics movement. So actually each of these test pilots we intend to conclude in September would be running at 150 kilometers an hour. And the logistics segment actually intends to transport 40-ton containers. Truly a game changer for the region. Another of our partners is Merlin Sustainable Technologies in the field of agri-tech and sustainable construction. We have actually partnered with Merlin as well as AI Directions, another of our partners, in developing AI-supported predictive maintenance models as well. And their pilot has been so successful that even from within the pilot project, they've actually been supplying some of their vegetation and so on to the local market. Another partner that I'm proud to introduce is Civil Twin Renewable Middle East. They have completed their pilot project, which has 20% increased efficiency in their solar panels, as well as a 10% decrease in the actual size of the panels as well. With the success of this pilot, we're really looking forward to their commercial implementation within the region. Another very proud startup that has been established within the park is Napta Health, a women's healthcare model that has been developed by a woman. And we're really proud to have 30% of our entrepreneurs to actually be female. And this is a very specific technology. We started off with digitization, and Sophie, who is the founder of Napta Health, has been developing some utilities and tools as well to support women's healthcare. Another platform for me to quickly go through is the Soil Lab that we will be inaugurating within the next 2 to 3 weeks. We just did a Tech Tuesday session yesterday where we had over 65 participants come down and have a look at our equipment. So this actually happens to be one of the region's largest rapid prototyping centers. I guess we would be second only to Turkey in terms of sheer size. And we have equipment ranging from 3D printing equipment for plastics, polymers, metals, and CNC machines for wood and textiles and so on. So all under one roof. We're actually providing it more or less like a gym membership, as some of my colleagues like to say, for even the early stage entrepreneurs who may have just graduated to have access to these facilities. Another activity that we have launched in December is the Sharjah Angel Investors Network. We've already conducted 2 sessions and have had 2 of our startups already receive angel investment, which is a proud moment for us, and we are accelerating this ecosystem to expand to startups within the region. A couple of other global activations we have done is Women in Technology Forum that we've conducted in France. We do several initiatives in promoting the circular economy. This webinar session happens to be one of them. The Sharjah Advanced Industry Accelerator also is a very key success story that we concluded in December of last year. And eight of these startups will be joining the Sharjah Research and Technology Innovation Park ecosystem across the space of environment, technologies, transport, and energy as well. Just in quick conclusion, a couple of other events that we've conducted has been webinars across different segments, attracting over 5,000 attendees for the Technology Transfer Summit and over 30,000 attendees for the webinars. And of course, we have been slowly moving towards the physical events model once we moved into the headquarters in November of last year. And a couple of these events included the 3D Printing Emerging Tech Exhibition, where we had 30 different 3D printing, 3D manufacturing companies that established with us, and several of the government entities from the UAE and from the region as well were able to witness the technologies on offer. Excuse me. And we intend to launch our Smart City exhibition within the next 2 to 3 weeks as well, once the restrictions would be lifted. Thank you very much for your extension. Hopefully I haven't overshot my time. And what I would like to do at this point in time is to introduce our panelists for today, for the webinar today. I would like to introduce Adam Uptas, who is personally responsible from Green Tree Group, who is personally responsible for the implementation of new products in the entity. And also, he has been responsible for the technical knowledge in the field of creating biocompostable packaging and the products. Our second panelist for today is Mr. Salim Zeghal, who is a board member and the CEO of Altea Packaging. He has experience in several fields. Altea Packaging is presents itself as a group of companies operating in flexible packaging in Tunisia, with sales in Africa, Europe, and the Middle East. Mr. Zeghal also happens to be a board member of MedTech, which is an English-speaking private engineering school in Tunisia. He's an active member of the French and engineering business schools in Tunisia, where he also serves as the vice president. And currently, he also serves on the French Embassy's Economic Council in Tunisia as well. Thank you very much, Adam and Mr. Salim, to be a part of our webinar. I will hand the microphone over to Adam before we have a few words from Mr. Salim as well. Adam, the floor is yours.
I think Adam is on mute.
Adam, I'm not able to hear you.
How is now? Hello?
Yes, I think the volume is a bit low.
Hello? Do you listen to me? Are you listening to me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. Może tam wyłącz głos.
There is a bit of an echo. I think probably you may need to mute the other machine.
Yes, probably that will be that problem.
Yeah, it's okay now. I think we can continue. If you can go to full screen, please.
One more time. Hello everyone. In few words, I wanna show what we're doing in the Poland. We are a company from Poland. Yes, we are a company who care about environment and the topic in the main things. What we're doing, we work with the biopolymers. Yes, with all products who are friendly for environment. on the start, I want to show you differences between materials which we can use to packaging, for example. Yes. On the start, on the left side, is traditional materials from plastic. The second is oxo biodegradable part, and the third one is compostable materials. For us, it's most important compostable materials. We work with today with of course PLA. We love PLA. And the second is cellulose films. The third is stretch films too. Later, I want to show you a few products who we have, who we produce, and how it works. On the next, for us, the most important is circular economy. Yes, for us is most important recycling organic in circular economy. At the start, I want to show you what is differences between recycling mechanical and formal or organic. Recycling mechanic, everybody knows what how it works, Yes, that's most important is mechanical fragmentation of material, plastic, aluminum cans, glass, and to circle that to the same rev material. Once used, everybody want to use again. Yes, but not many people know that organic recycling, this is important to option, the second option of circular economy, is the processing of biological waste such as food scraps, waste garden and compostable packaging. We can today everything recycling, organic, and to create, for example, biogas. And we're doing that in the Poland. For us, is the main topic is create packaging for recycling organic. Okay. And on the side, I want to say what is differences between biodegradable and compostable material. Biodegradable does mean a material that is decomposed when exposed to a microbiological environment. Yes, but composting is high level. Why? Because we know in that compost later, after biodegradable, is only where it isn't microplastic. Why? Because biodegradable today many factories says they have a biodegradable product film, but today on for example polypropylene cast is they biodegradable because it's changing only physical skills. For us is much more important compostable because we know that waste is very good for environment. You can use that for the plants and is very safe. I prepared a few examples of how a compostable film can be used. We've got a few ways to using in normal packaging. Yes, we're using, for example, PLA, just like I saw earlier.
And I will help you?
Yes.
So I will support Adam. Hello.
Yes, the second part of our company, our friend.
Okay.
We work together.
My name is Sylwester Paprowski, and I just wanted to help a little bit Adam with regards to packaging. One of your questions was what we can face when we would like to move from the standard packaging which we have at the moment on the market and move to more compostable or biodegradable, environmentally friendly packaging. The case is that not everything you can pack in this because it sometimes belongs also to the packaging lines or end user or consumers. However, there are, as you see on the slide, that there is a food market, but there are also technical products around us, which also needs to have these solutions. And so far, as we learned last couple of years, so far there are materials on the market which might be combined like laminates, duplex, triplex laminates, and can easily replace current packaging and easily be treated with all certification as compostable materials. And we experience that and we face that already together with local brand owners in Poland, but not only. We have also projects which are European-wide for technical product and for food product. So there are solutions already existing. There are technology already existing which we can use to replace, I would say, conventional packaging. And examples on the pictures, examples on the slide are all about food, but we do not forget about also technical packaging. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for helping. On the next slide, this is most important information for everyone who want to work with biopolymers. We know this is the last information from European government, yes, from 8 February this year. The European Parliament adopted its own initiative report on the circular economy, which recognizes the role of bioplastic for the future. This is the very good news because European government know that that alternatives are very important, and all countries have to prepare to find a solution for circular economy for that biopolymers, and this is just like I said, very good information. I think that market biopolymers will be grow very fast. On next presentation. Okay. We work today with PLA, of course, with the starch films, cellulose films, and our new product, native biofilms. Yes. About PLA, in a few words, this is plant-based compostable polymer with very low carbon footprint. This is very important. We work with that films from 9 microns till 75 microns. We're using for that for thermoforming and normal packaging. I will show you. Oh, this PLA, yes, packaging. We use that for our events. Yes, we work with that 2 years. For example, all products they have certificate DINCERTCO and 14432. This is very important certificate. The next film which we work, the starch films. This is a blend of PLA, PBAT, cornstarch, and vegetable oil esters. That film can composting sometimes in our own home composter. That depends from a few things, but there are certificate too, even by TÜV. I will show you. We like and we love this film because we've got a few ways for that raw materials. I want to show you a few things for that materials who which we work. For example, this is a very good foil, yes. It's a very good foil, yes. Compostable. Or shopping bags. I want to show you. Yes. We are producer of this waste sacks. Yes, for bio waste. It's very good product. Why? Because look, when we will put inside the bio waste, we can take together and put in composter and degradable together. This is very important for that.
Adam, we may have to hurry up a bit just to allow for Mr. Salim also for some time for his session. So if you can try to wrap up.
Okay. Okay, and the last one, this natural biofilm is our product, who is this our child, yes, this the first barrier film machine, registered for gas permeation, fats, water, ethanol, and many other factories. I will show you two last slides. This is our brand, 100% compostable. This is our product too, 100% compostable. And Shifu and everyone, thank you.
Thank you very much, Adam. So apologies for having to push that along, just so that we have some time for Mr. Salim, and I believe we have some questions coming in as well. So we want to make sure that we can cover a few questions with our panelists. Mr. Salim, over to you. Adam, if you could just close off the share screen, and then we can have Mr. Salim introduce himself. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Salim. The floor is yours.
Yeah. Thank you, Shifu. So, as you mentioned earlier, we are, as Altea Packaging, a flexible packaging converter, and I will insist on flexible and converter, and I'll explain why. So, being that some people might be thinking that, well, this is an evil polluter because we are producing packaging, and today packaging is not something nice somehow. But let me tell you that by producing packaging, we are already fulfilling many of the SDG goals, and I would insist on maybe the three first ones: poverty, hunger, and good health and well-being. Why is that? Because packaging provides the means to give food to people in a safe manner, because you are safeguarding the food, and in an informative manner as well, because you are putting a lot of data on the packaging, which is helpful to the consumer, and you are making sure that you are getting that food to the consumers in a proper way, and in a way that helps relieve these questions of poverty and hunger. I remember one of my suppliers in India one day was telling me that if in India they were able to package all the agricultural produce that they have before it gets rotten, there will be enough food to feed the whole of the UK. So what is lost today because it's not packaged is a huge amount. And that means that also by packaging foods and packaging agricultural produce, we are helping also have a better way of, I would say, a responsible consumption and production, and that is the 12th goal of the SDGs. So you see that already by just doing packaging, we are fulfilling many of those goals. I insisted on flexible packaging. Why is that? Because by doing flexible, we have materials that are less heavy to package the same goods. If you compare it to tin cans, if you compare it to glass, if you compare it to many of those primary packagings, using flexible packaging as a primary packaging, you are already reducing the weight of the packaging in percentage of the packaged good. And by doing that, you are also contributing to a lower carbon footprint of the materials that you are helping package and give to the consumer. So you can see that maybe the situation is not as clear-cut as it might seem in first step. But that doesn't mean that we have to do nothing about this, because we are all conscious that plastics are an issue, especially in the oceans, in the water flowing around us and so on. So we have to do something about it. So what are we doing about this? First, some of the things that we work on as converters, as responsible converters, is source reduction. That means that we have worked with many of the brands that we supply to reduce the gauges of the flexible films that we are using. And that means that we use less material. And by using less material, we are helping improve the situation and we pollute less. So that is one major thing that we do. In terms of materials usage and the responsible production, which are part of the goals of the SDGs, what we do also is that we work on internal recycling in our processes. So what we do is that we invest in new machinery to produce less waste, and the technology has evolved. So we are able to reduce our waste rates, if you want, in the production steps. We have been investing also in what is called solvent recovery plants. So that's a major investment that we do. But by doing this, we produce less organic or volatile organic components to the air. And we are able also to recycle that material within our production processes. And I have been presenting this, I remember, to the COP21 in Paris. So these are useful investments because they protect the environment. And by doing this, we are fulfilling the 13th of the goals, which is climate action. But we are also helping protect our employees because we provide a better working environment for them. And you know that this is another of the SDG goals. So you see that we really keep this in mind and we try to improve the situation towards more sustainable production. Now, getting to the packaging itself. We use materials today, we use a combination of various plastics, of aluminum foil, of paper. And we can laminate that in different forms. Why shall we do that? Because we are aiming for various barriers to protect the goods that we sell, that our customers sell. And also we need to provide a certain rigidity, a certain brightness, and so on. So there are marketing criteria, there are physical criteria, and there are barrier criteria to protect the goods. What is the trend today in terms of improving things towards a more sustainable production? One of the trends is going for more monomaterial, because by going monomaterial, you help the recycling. If you have several materials that are embedded together, it is very difficult to separate, and it is difficult, and you end up maybe incinerating them or putting them in a landfill, but it's not very recyclable. If you go for products where you have removed the aluminum foil, for instance, replaced it by a metallized high barrier polypropylene to be laminated with another polypropylene, and therefore we get a fully polyolefin type of material, then it is more recyclable. Of course, recyclability, you have to put the system in place to have it. So there is a collection side to it, there is a recycling side to it, and so on. So you have to put all these processes in a country in order to make this happen. The other aspect that we see today with many of the brand names is also what is called using post-consumer recycled material in the material that we use ourselves. And this is something that we do. Of course, you have to find those post-consumer recycled material in order to embed them into your own material. And by doing this, we get more circular, if you want, because we are reusing those materials and you can reuse them many times. However, you have to be very cautious in terms of what is called migration. And you have to make sure that those materials are clean from any types of pollutants that could migrate if you are in a situation of direct food contact. And we are very cautious about health of the people that we are serving. Not directly, but we serve them through the brand names that you all know from various FMCG companies, which are our customers. The last trend, I would say, so I mentioned first, using materials that can be recycled. Second, using post-consumer recycled material. And the third one, led me to link with what Adam was just presenting to us, which are either biodegradable or better compostable materials. Of course, that would be the perfect situation. However, there is a catch to it, which hopefully with time will fade away. The catch is price. Today, if we are looking at oxo biodegradable materials or compostable materials, yes, they do the job. And definitely if there is a push on the legislator side, or if there is a push on the brand name side, yes, the technology exists today. It is real, it can help, and it is definitely a good thing to have. The only thing is that today it is more expensive. And being more expensive, it hinders a little bit what is called the affordability, because at the end we have a consumer. So that consumer cannot afford if all the material pricing is getting higher. And I do operate in many countries where the purchasing power is not that high. I mean, if I am in Tunisia, if I am in Egypt, and even in Europe, the brand names say, okay, we want that stuff. But at the end, if they see it's 2-3 times more expensive, they will not do it, even though the packaging might represent only 3 to 4% of the total cost. So it's not huge. I mean, you could go. So in order for that to thrive, and I definitely adhere to these goals, and we need to go that way because that's the best way to protect the environment, there needs to be either a legislative push, as we are doing for any climate issues today, because it has a cost. And if we integrate somehow the cost to repair the environment that we are damaging today, of course, it will make sense, because then it's not expensive. But we have to push that on the legislation side, or we have, hopefully, as usage grows, because we are getting brand names that are more conscious about these issues, and they are willing voluntarily to spend to protect the environment, then the producers of films based on compostable material will get the prices down and down, and we will reach a situation where it will be the ultimate solution. Thank you.
Thank you very much for those insights, Adam and Salim. We have a couple of minutes for a few questions. I'm just going to throw in one myself. Probably that's going to be leading off from how Salim closed, and that is about the actual implementation of the current technologies that we have. You mentioned that price happens to be the key differentiator. If I could ask both Salim as well as Adam, have there been any particular brands that come to mind that have been interested in the implementation of these packaging solutions? And if so, how widespread? Because you could have a very large FMCG brand promote these aspects, but actually implement these packaging solutions for probably a small fraction of their packaging requirements. So where do you see yourselves, despite the pricing concerns at present, where do we see ourselves in terms of the actual implementation of some of these compostable, biodegradable packaging solutions from the big brands, from some of your clients, perhaps?
Should we start, right? Yes. Quickly. Okay. So yes, thank you very much, Slim, for your inputs, and I agree with you about the price differentiation with regards to standard packaging and compostable. Majority belongs to the scale effect, because the compostable materials are still very small production and very young solutions, which we still develop and which we still research. And standard packaging, there's a scale effect. There are overcapacity in the world, and the price is that the suppliers fighting with the price to sell their goods. This is one picture of the price. The second is, as I said, scale effect. And in Europe, you also mentioned about it, there are legislation way to help and support develop compostability in order to taxation. So there will be tax-wise rules which will be created till end of 2021 and the next years, possibly supporting solutions which will be environmental friendly. So this is one of the way European Communion would like to support the packaging. The second, you mentioned about 2-3 times. I would doubt about it. It's not 2-3 times, but there are still ways to, for example, you mentioned about decreasing packaging. So we easily can find a solution how to still decrease packaging. For example, easily case. Replace sealant, which you use for example, triplex laminate, like this PET alu PE, and you have PE at the moment 70 micron to 80 micron. You can replace it with PLA, which is 15 microns or 12 microns, and we'll make a job. We experienced that already. So there are solutions which we can talk about it, and then those solutions are not. I would say more expensive anymore, but this is detailed offline discussion, technical discussion, but we are really doing good and we do not have this feeling that we are too expensive at the moment. So we have a solution which we can explain on the technical side and on the economical side how to do it. They are existing ones. Thank you.
Well, as a converter, we would love to have those solutions because today, honestly, we are seeing indeed that many brand names are pushing for, I mean, every request we get these days asks about either recyclability or compostability and things like that, which is a good thing. And as I mentioned earlier, really, the legislation will be the thing that will push these people or all of us, because it's if we do not react quickly enough, the legislation will be the real thing that will make it happen. And this is, again, I think we are perfectly aligned because you mentioned that it is a matter of scale. I fully agree. I mean, we have seen it with PV solar. PV solar was expensive. Today, it's probably the best technology, even price-wise, because it is getting mainstream. So as compostable materials will get mainstream, they will get cheaper and they will get acceptable. And in order to get to that point, we need the legislators to push for it. If the legislators push for it, there will be no choice. You will have to do it. And let me tell you that I have been asking our people in the R&D department these days, because as maybe a lot of people are aware, there has been a huge hike in resins prices worldwide. All the plastic material prices are getting expensive. There is a major increase. And so I told them, look, this is the opportunity. You have to talk to our customers and say, look, there is not a big difference now. So can we make a shift? Because if you really care about environment and then you accept to pay a little more, then we will push for more environmentally friendly materials. And by doing that, there will be bigger production and eventually the prices will get down. So we will get to something sustainable. So we have to take the opportunities that we get. And hopefully that's what we would look for. Having said that, when we talk to these brands, yes, all of them have objectives. All of them say they want to get to that and so on, but they are always cautious about prices. And we can understand, because at the end, there is a consumer and the consumer has to be able to afford the product. So we will get there by working all together, the brands, and they are showing that they want to go that route, which is good. I mean, they are not opposing. The converters ourselves, working with the producers of films to find the right technical solutions that provide the barriers and the right packaging that will be sufficient for those products. So I think the trend is there, definitely. It's not the same pace in all countries in the world because legislations are not evolving as fast. And, today, for instance, in Europe, there are legislations for this. But let me tell you that in other countries, which I know, we still are fighting to get products that are banned today in Europe to be banned from there as well. Because if you are talking about solvents like toluene being used in some printing jobs, which is making it cheaper, but toluene leads to cancer. So it has, there is no doubt it has to be excluded. And we are facing competitive situations today where we have people using those kinds of things still and proposing cheaper prices. And we keep telling our customers and so on, this is a choice we have made, even in countries where the legislation does not forbid, but being responsible, we say, no way, we cannot use products that today are forbidden in countries which have pushed legislations to follow up chemical products like the REACH regulations and so on that exist in Europe. So we try to align to highest standards because that's what the consumer, if we respect our consumer, that's what we need to do. Even if the legislation in the country where we operate is still not in place. And hopefully we will push the legislatures to align to those standards because we need to do that for the safety and the health of the consumers.
Perfect. I'm just going to try and squeeze two more questions in here before we run out of time. And one question that we have here from the audience is, we spoke about affordability of the consumers, but increasingly, especially through the advocacy of many climate change activists and so on, we are seeing more and more consumers actually being made aware of solutions that are environmentally friendly. What do you think one second, I'm just trying to scroll here. What do you think that producers of these packaging can do to increase the awareness amongst the consumers? Because affordability is on one hand, but we do have a growing consumer base. I guess the question implies that there's a growing consumer base that actually can start switching to the slightly more expensive products which follow the environmental goals. So what can the packaging manufacturers such as yourselves do to increase this awareness, to show that there is a choice for the consumers? I guess that's what the question is alluding to.
Yeah, well, I think in terms of communicating with the consumer, the people that are doing this or start doing this are the brands, the FMCG brands. You see, in this chain, you have the brand, which is in contact with the consumer. You have the converter, which is using material to provide the packaging, and you have the producers of the material, which are films, whether they are based on plastic or compostable material or aluminum foil or whatever other material. So yes, we probably all have a saying and should be communicating, but in fact, what we see today is that more and more brands are using this type of communication to talk about how responsible they feel about the environment. And they are the drivers, really. I mean, they are the ones in contact with the consumer. We seldom communicate to the consumer because even if we print that packaging, what we print on it belongs to the brand, not to us. So we print whatever message they want to print. So basically, they are the ones, and I think some of the leading brands are starting to do this, and hopefully it will, grow. Because the trend is there. Of course, it is not the same situations again in all countries of the world. I mean, if you have a GDP per inhabitant at $1 or at 100,000, it's not the same. Not $1, but not $1 per day. I mean, it's not the same situation. And unfortunately, one of the things I have seen also when I was in water treatment, because my initial background is in water and wastewater treatment. But anyway, it is the poor that pay the most. Why I'm saying this? Because again of purchasing power. In countries where people have higher purchasing power, the doses of material are bigger, so you get less packaging for more products. If you are getting in countries where the purchasing power is low, you have more packaging per unit product that you buy, because you have to buy it in smaller pieces and smaller quantities, unfortunately. And this is not something I'm happy about, because it's not contributing to reduce the inequalities. So we have to think about this again in terms of the consuming modes.
Thank you. Unfortunately, since we're running out of time, just going to have quick final comments from both Adam as well as Salim. What are your expectations for the next, I would say, for the next 12 months, the next 5 years, in terms of what would you consider as a win in terms of packaging goals for the next 12 months and for the next 5 years?
Yeah. 12 months perspective is more closer. 5 years is really long perspective for packaging like we are talking about today. I can only say exactly what Slim mentioned, that environmental friendly packaging has two ways. One is recyclability, and the second one is the compostability. Both of them are helping Earth to get rid of the waste. And the brand owners will decide which strategy they will take and which way they would like to follow. Both ways are good. So we count on and we concentrate, me and Adam Wintry, on the compostability materials. We really believe in this solution, and we will support it with full resources, smartness, and knowledge about it. So in 12 months, we will be again in different place, because this technology is still developed, the structure is still developed, the machinery packaging producers still start to produce the lines to be able to work with this kind of new behaving materials. So we really believe that this will be a future. So this is my comment on that. Thank you.
At last, I want to show you something. This is our new product. Look, please. This is for the cream. It's packaging for the cream from the cornstarch. Look. We work with that project. We start 1.5 years ago. Yes, today we've got very good packaging for organic cream from cornstarch.
Oh, that's amazing. Okay, that's probably going to be a game changer. I'm not a packaging expert, but that's interesting.
It is definitely, because also one thing to mention is that what we find in the oceans and in waterways are mainly rigid packaging versus flexible. So you find a lot of rigid packaging, smaller pieces all around. I definitely believe that compostable is the ultimate solution. That's probably the best. And ideally, if I may formulate a wish, is that in 5 years' time, we will be getting much more of that all over. What I believe is that mature markets, such as the European one, will be driving this trend. So we will see dramatic shifts, because the regulation is pushing for that, and because the purchasing power is probably higher, and so on. So that will lead the way. By doing that, it will drive costs down for the materials that we want to use eventually. And so it will help find the solution for other places in the world. So ideally, that's what I see, is that Europe will be pushing and there will be a shift. Definitely, we see that shift from most brand owners today. If you are a new converter talking to them, they wouldn't agree to talk to you if you are not proposing solutions for either recyclable or compostable or biodegradable. So that is a good trend. And by having that trend, we will see more recyclable and more compostable, more biodegradable products getting manufactured, getting used. People will know that by using this product, they will get confidence that they can provide the barrier properties they are looking for, because it's a matter of shelf life, it's a matter of all of that. So we have to prove it. And I think we will be easily proving that it can happen. So if we prove it, if it happens, if the prices get down ultimately because scale will be there, then we will have a better planet, hopefully in 5 years' time. Yeah, it's not an unreachable goal.
Thank you very much for your insights, Adam and Salim, and I really appreciate you taking time out from your extremely busy schedules to be a part of this webinar. I'd like to thank you on behalf of the Sharjah Research and Technology Innovation Park as well. I'd like to thank you to all our participants. I see that we have quite a few from our YouTube live stream as well, a few other questions coming in. Unfortunately, I will have to end the session here, but feel free to send in any other comments you'd like via email, and we will help you connect with both our participants today, and we can see how we can develop these solutions further. Thank you once again to Adam and Salim, and to be a part of this session, and wish you a good afternoon.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, and have a great day.